I'm able to stay chiseled year-round in Tampa, Florida using the grit method, despite working over 10 hours a day at my career and without it feeling like a complete grind. Okay, and by the end of this video, I'm gonna show you how you can do the exact same thing. And you're gonna wanna stick around for the whole thing because I'm holding nothing back. I'm gonna pull back the curtain and share all the secret sauce with you. Okay, and to be clear, this is for men in Tampa who have just been focused on their career and they kind of let their fitness fall by the wayside. This is not for men outside of Tampa or men who kind of have like a victim mindset and aren't willing to adopt new beliefs and try new methods to help them get new results. Okay, and the reason I can even talk about this, I've been coaching since I was 19 years old. I've served over 200 clients and a lot of them have been in Tampa, focused on their career just like you. Okay, and really how this process works is I compare the grit method to like constructing a house, right? So imagine you were building a house. And I didn't tell you why you were building it. I didn't tell you what the finished house was gonna look like. I just said, hey, like just go start building. You're gonna like show up, gonna feel kind of boring, right? You don't know what you're doing, right? Like maybe you start, building a little bit and then get your muscles start aching a little bit, like it's sunny out, you start sweating and you're like, you know what? I got other stuff to do. I'm just gonna kind of leave this unfinished house here, right? But then imagine another scenario where before we start building, I'm like, hey, you know what? Come over here. I wanna show you something. When you come over, you're peeking over my shoulder and we're looking at this blueprint of what the finished house was gonna look like, right? And we realized like, man, this is your dream house. Like you were born to live in this house. This house just lights you on fire. You're like, I will do whatever it takes to live in this house, right? And then I said, okay, now go start building. It's not gonna feel purposeless anymore. You're not gonna feel bored, right? You're gonna show up and you're gonna be like, I'm building with passion, right? It's not gonna feel like a grind. It's not gonna feel like a chore. It's gonna feel like grit, right? So same exact thing when it comes to our fitness journey, right? Like maybe you've tried, getting fit before. You've tried getting lean. You've tried building muscle. You've tried building these habits, right? But it was kind of like you were just showing up with no direction. You were just laying the bricks randomly. And of course you fell off. You didn't have a meaningful vision to work towards, right? So that's step one of what we do inside the grit method is we get crystal clear that, hey, if you were a gym goer, if you did lose body fat and build muscle, how would that affect your life? What version of you would you have to become? We get so clear on that vision when we roll up that blueprint, we keep it in your pocket. That way, every single day when you show up to those habits and you're working out and you're eating nutritious meals, it feels purposeful. You're excited to do it. It doesn't feel like a grind. It feels like grit. Okay, so if you've tried before, but you never actually created that vision, you never created that blueprint, no wonder you fell off, right? And it's not your fault because that's what every other fitness coach, that's what they're teaching. Like if you hop into a different fitness program, the first question they're gonna ask you is, hey, let's set some goals. Like, what do you wanna achieve in a month from now? Right? And you might start building, but guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna fall right off, right? So it's not your fault, but this is why you haven't actually created that sustainability. You haven't created that identity shift because you haven't yet figured out exactly who you're becoming. Okay, but don't worry, that's what we'll do inside the grit method. And with my client, Jim, he struggled with his fitness his entire life, right? He had gone through bouts where he would go like all in, like he was preparing for a marathon and he would get kind of fit, but then he would always revert back, right? And he was obese for over a decade, but he never felt that motivation to actually step into a fit, healthy, muscular version of himself, right? And then when we started together, first thing we did is we went through this vision creation process, right? And we created this detailed vision that like, hey, when he's 70 years old, he knows he wants to go on a hike in Scotland with his friends, right? And he knows that he wants to be a fit, just confident, happy person so that he can lead by example for his kids, right? And he can be a better husband to his wife and that he can show up to his work, not just for another decade, but for 3 more decades, right? So when you have this detailed vision, it made it so much easier for him to show up to those daily habits. And that's how we actually ended up creating sustainable results, right? For the first time in his life, he is just totally stepping into a new identity. He's got new muscles on his body. He's dropped 40 pounds since we started working together in only 4.5 months. It's been awesome, right? So that's the power of having that blueprint in advance is the entire process just feels purposeful. And that's how you can actually create that identity shift and create that sustainability with your fitness. If this finished house was chiseled you, right? Just imagine for a second, the version of you that can just run on Bayshore with his shirt off and just feels confident, feels more energized than he has in years, right? Maybe some girls are running by and you're just smiling. You're just feeling like the best version of you, right? If that was the finished house, there's really 3 pillars that this house is built from, right? The first is called hypertrophy. Okay, so hypertrophy is really just a fancy way of saying building muscle, right? So it's really important in this process of getting lean, getting more muscular, right? Getting chiseled, that you know how to build muscle, right? And that just so happens to be like that one subject that I just know way too much about. Right? You know, everyone kind of has like their zone of genius. That is like hypertrophy for me, okay? I've actually like invested thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours into studying the science behind how muscle growth works, right? And really, it comes down to something I like to call gritty reps, okay? Gritty reps. Right, you're probably like, what the heck does gritty reps mean? Well, I'm about to show you exactly what it means, right? Gritty reps is literally the most time and energy efficient way to build muscle. Okay, it's all about knowing how to get the best bang for your buck with your workouts, right? So if you join any other meathead fitness influencer training program, their workouts are gonna be like at least over an hour. It's gonna have like 3 sets of 12 to 15 on every exercise. And it's gonna be like really, you're gonna be chasing the burn. You're gonna be chasing the pump. You're gonna be like walking out and your muscles are gonna be sore. You're gonna be aching, right? When you know how muscle growth works, you know how the gritty reps works, you can bypass all of that. Because so really what the gritty reps is all about is, you know, those last few reps before failure on a set where it's kind of like you're pushing your hardest, but it's getting a little slow. It's a little gritty. Those are the most important reps for building muscle, right? So when we know that, we can skip out on all the fluff. We can cut out all the extra fat off the workout and get straight to the meaningful reps, get straight to that lean meat, right? So what that would look like is ideally using some machines. Okay, machines is the easiest way to do the gritty rep, right? So you pick a nice, simple, stable machine, just kind of like an overhead press, and you pick a weight where you don't have to do 12, 15 reps, 3 sets, right? You can pick a heavy enough weight that I can get right near failure, right around 5 reps. So it might look something like this. Notice how I'm pushing my hardest with every rep. One more. Right, so I picked a heavy enough weight that I could get right near failure around 5. Okay, that is how you get the best bang for your buck, right? Compared to like what a lot of meathead fitness influencer programs would have you do is grab some like dumbbells like this, and you're gonna have to like really like pump it out. And it's gonna be exhausting. It's a lot more risk of injury too. And it's just gonna be a lot less time efficient way to train. Because this is how we can get the best bang for our buck with our workouts. Instead of training like an hour and a half, we can be out of the gym in 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, it's really cool when you understand how this works, right? So like if building muscle was like cutting through a steak, a lot of people, it's like they're using a butter knife, right? So they're doing a lot of stuff. They're going really fast, right? They're not taking a lot of rest in between. They're trying to brute force their way through the steak. But no wonder they're not making that much progress. That knife is so dull, right? But when you focus on the gritty reps, right, and you realize like, hey, I can get really good bang for my buck. I can be very patient in my workouts, and I actually don't have to do that much stuff. It's kind of like using a steak knife, right? So you make a nice effective cut, and then you take a long rest, you sharpen your knife, nice effective cut, sharpen your knife, and then repeat, right? So it's not about doing more, it's about knowing how to get more from what you do, right? And when it comes to sustainability, when it comes to making yourself a gym goer, like working out not just for a month, a year, but a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, you're gonna want to know how to actually do it sustainably, do it so that it fits into your busy schedule, and do it in a way where you can know that you're making the most out of your time, right? So that's pillar number 1 of the grit method, is those very time efficient, sustainable, easy to stick to workouts using those gritty reps. If this finished house was the most fit version of you, the second pillar is gonna be cardio, right? So one of the biggest mistakes that men run into is they always prioritize intensity over consistency when it comes to their cardio, right? So it's not about doing the most intense workout of all time, getting drenched in sweat, right? Like if you could do that, but you can't actually sustain it for 6 months, a year, right? A decade, it's not gonna matter, right? We don't want to just like start building this house and then see it crumble. We want to see this house stand tall and sturdy for the rest of your life, right? So it's not about running a marathon, a half marathon, a 5K. It's about just becoming a runner, becoming a walker, becoming an active person, right? And with that, I can't think of an easier place to do it than the beautiful Riverwalk. Like, we're over in Tampa. It's one of the most beautiful cities in the entire world. There's so many places where you can do a quick 15 to 30 minute power walk, throw on an audiobook, throw in some good music, and just get yourself around other fit people, right? I can't think of a better way to turn it into a sustainable habit than just doing a nice brisk walk, right? So that's gonna be my recommendation for cardio, is something that we can see ourselves doing consistently. Okay, it could be outside, it could be like inside after your workout, right? 15 to 30 minutes on the treadmill. Could be 10 to 15 minutes on the Stairmaster. Doesn't need to be anything crazy, but something that we can do consistently, right? If we can do that, the goal of cardio, this is gonna help us lose body fat. The third pillar of the grit method and of building this house of the most chiseled version of you is gonna be nutrition, right? So I always say, food is fuel, habits rule. When you have consistent, sustainable habits and you're putting good quality whole foods into your system and you're fair to your body will respond and be fair to you, right? So something like Naked Farmer, right here, I have some nice, tasty chicken, high protein. I have some good, high quality carbs, right? I got some sweet potatoes, some brown rice, right? I got some vegetables. Not only is it delicious, my body's gonna feel fueled and energized. It's gonna be thanking me when I finish this meal, right? So you don't need keto, you don't need restrictive diets, you don't need to hyperfixate on every calorie. It just makes sense. When you put good in, you get good out, right? So don't overcomplicate it. Way too many men are like eating one meal a day thinking that's gonna help them get leaner. It's not about that. It's just about building those building blocks, so sustainable habits of putting good quality ingredients in your body. And when we're in Tampa, places like Naked Farmer, you could come here every single day and it's totally in alignment with your fitness goals. Not only is it delicious, but it's also nutritious. Okay, so we want to be fair to our bodies and our bodies will be fair to us. So just to recap, guys, the goal of gritty reps is to build muscle, and the goal of cardio and nutrition is to lose body fat. Okay, so when you can do these two things, you can build muscle and you can lose body fat. That is how you create the chiseled look. That's how you get defined, lean, strong, and aesthetic. Okay, and that's the dream body that we're all looking for, right? So that is how you get chiseled. Okay, so really, guys, it's more simple than it looks. It's 3 pillars, and all these bricks, these are just habits, right? We need simple, sustainable habits in each of these 3 pillars. And if you have the right habits in place and you can give it enough time, over time, you'll actually see the full house come into fruition, right? And when things get tough, that's why we have that blueprint, that exciting vision that's gonna keep us motivated, keep us on path. So do you guys see how this process could work for you? If you knew exactly who you were becoming and you knew that you had simple, sustainable habits to build some muscle and to lose body fat, don't you see how you actually could create that identity shift and become that new version of you that is fit, that is muscular, that is healthy and strong, right? And this is me right here, right? And this is you, okay? And this is us working as a team, building this house together. Right? It's hard to build a house alone. And that's what is literally my life's mission. This is what I wake up and think about every single day, is helping men just like you make sure they have the support they need, the tools they need, and actually rolling up my sleeves, getting down in the trenches with you and laying these bricks together. Because there's nothing I want more than to see you truly actualize your potential. Like, you were not born to just be chunky. You were not born to not be energized, to not be confident. Like, you have everything you need to be super fit, to be the best version of you. A new version of you that you never even thought that you had the potential to create is within you. And it just takes having that clear vision and setting those simple habits and giving it some time. Okay, so if you're on board to building this house together, just go ahead and click the link down below. It's gonna be to set up a call with me, and I'll hear a little bit more exactly what's going on, and we're gonna set up a game plan to build this house, okay? And yes, there's gonna be an investment, right? But I learned a long time ago, when you pay attention, right? Like, I've struggled a lot in my life, like for example, with my business. And it took me actually putting my pride aside, making a really big investment that was out of my comfort zone for me to actually start to take it seriously, for me to finally get the result, right? So we vote with our dollars about the things we care about. So if you do truly care about actualizing who you know you could become, a fit, energized, confident version of you, and you don't want to just, set another goal and fall off, but you want to do it in a way that's sustainable, right? A way that's going to help you create this full identity shift, right? Then go ahead, click that link below. Let's hop on a call and let's get you dialed in, right? And maybe you're thinking like you're a little busy, right? I know you're focused with your career, but you probably spend a ton of time at work every single day. But busy is the best time, okay? Even if you're in a really busy season, there's no better time to start. Because if you have the sustainable habits, you're doing some gritty reps, you're doing some cardio, and you have good nutrition habits, and you can do it even in a busy season, then like when you get busy again in the future, you already know how to navigate through a busy season. So you'll actually be able to not fall off when you get busy again, right? And maybe you're thinking like, Jake, that's cool, but I just don't really know if I could do it. Like I've tried programs before, I've tried to, make this change before and I failed, and I don't know if I want to let myself down. And like, that's real. Like I can respect that and I can appreciate that. That is real. And here's what I'll say. Like, maybe you're married, right? Is the first girl you ever dated, is she the one that became your wife, right? Like your middle school crush? Like obviously not. Like you had some mess ups. You had the middle school crush. You probably had the high school crush. You probably had another girlfriend before you finally met the one that was your wife, right? So same exact thing when it comes to approaches with your fitness, right? It's not your fault that you've messed up. You probably never actually created a vision and actually set an identity-based habit and tried to create an identity shift. You probably weren't thinking so, just clear cut about setting simple habits in each of these three pillars. Right? You probably had pieces of the puzzle, at different times, but it's just unlikely that you really actually had a game plan to get those simple habits in all three areas and actually had that vision of who you were becoming, right? So just because, the first time didn't work out, like I would hate to let one past mistake burn you twice, right? So with that in mind, like, would it be crazy if we just genuinely start building this house together and at least just start taking a step towards that direction, right? And if that sounds like you and you're ready to just take a step in the direction, then go ahead, click the link below, let's hop on the call and let's get you dialed in.